hello. How's it going, people? Welcome to the stream. Welcome. Arsenal are through in the Carabao Cup yesterday by beating Brighton and Hove Albion. 2-0. Goals from Ethan Wangieri and Bukayo Saka sends us through. And we are about to face Crystal Palace in the next round. So we'll see how that's going to develop and how that is going to go overall. Let's be real. But yeah, Arsenal, I'm not going to lie, it wasn't a great game. It was a rough watch to some extent, especially in the first half. It was quite ugly. And for me personally, it raises some concerns. Obviously, Max Dowman was on fire. He was fantastic yesterday. Shame he didn't score. Anush as well, he got some chances. Shame he didn't put them away. I'm not going to lie. He had more chances than Gyökeres has had during games yesterday, which is actually quite insane to think about even. But yeah, there were some issues at times, and that for me is a big worry. For example, Skelly in the first half was pretty damn ugly. The midfield of Merino, Norgard, and players like that, it was just shocking to say the least. I'm not going to lie, because it was like a cheddar cheese, like holes in it. Norgard was making so many mistakes. Obviously, you can put it down to game rust, that they don't play pretty much at all. To some extent, some of them, the minimal game experience at Arsenal. But overall, yeah, it wasn't great. It definitely wasn't great. But at the end of the day, we scored 2 open play goals, by the way. No set pieces. No Gabriel, no set pieces. No Declan Rice, no set pieces. Obviously, both of them came on, of course, at the second half, but overall, yeah, none of them no set piece goals. I guess that's how we can look at it at the end of the day. But yeah, people, we're gonna talk about all that. Let me know what you think in the chat. Subscribe, like the stream, and let's do this. Yeah, Max was on fire. Big up Mubarak. Max was on fire. Mosquera was decent, very decent. Piero as well. Kep did also a very good job overall. I'm not gonna lie. Big up Hyper Protagonist. Hope you're doing well. Big up PW. Hope this Thursday is treating you well. Big up Gooner. Big up. It was easy for Max to stand out, as most of starting 11 are pretty poor. Yeah. A 15-year-old who gets almost no game time in the main squad, mostly plays in under 21s, under 18s, and stuff like that, did better than these experienced, proven, sensible signings and all these type of players, which is kind of nuts to even think about. But Max Dowman once again proved why he should be in the main squad, why he should be playing, because I'm not gonna lie, he was better than most of the players. He technical ability wise, football IQ wise, and anyways, he was much better than most of them. Too many changes. It was only when Rice, Gabriel, and Saka came on things improved. Exactly, and that is the biggest thing for me as well. Obviously, like 8-9 changes, if I'm not mistaken, not even 10 changes, obviously. Pretty much none of these players, unless you count Mosquera, Skelly, and, well, Trossard, they play on actually semi-consistent basis. Rest of them don't play pretty much at all. Let's be real. Merino maybe plays a bit more, but overall, yeah. Norgard doesn't play. He has been injured. Hincapié had just come back from injury. Ben White, he's been injured all the time. Kepa is just there for the vibes sometimes. Max Dowman, yeah, it's actually insane. It is actually insane to even think about. But obviously, you can put it down to game rust that they don't play. At the same time, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't great. It was pretty damn ugly. First half was pathetic. We should have been like 3-0 down in the first 20 minutes. If they had, for example, Danny Welbeck up top in the first half instead of whoever they had up top, to be honest, I don't even remember anymore, right? The big possibility, we are 2-3-0 down and we are not recovering. Definitely, we are not recovering from that with that team. So, yeah, obviously, win is a win. I'm happy that we are through. We're playing Crystal Palace in the next round, who at Anfield, once again, annihilated Liverpool 3-0. With Liverpool, it literally felt like Jurgen Klopp is throwing the game to some extent, because with the 11 he put out and all that stuff. But overall, yeah, Glasner has Slot's number. Glasner is fantastic manager, to say the least, and big up to him for everything. Big up PFC always. Big up. Dowman was the best player on the pitch by a mile. Yeah, he was, without shadow of a doubt. Rest of our journey, Norgard was abysmal, to say the least. But he's prem-proven, by the way, AFC always. As they said, they tried to convince us he's prem-proven, sensible signing, good for squad depth. And we saw how good our squad depth was. It was pretty damn ugly and worrying, I'm not going to lie. Obviously, unless somebody gets injured, they're not going to play a lot. But let's not forget, if Declan Rice gets injured, Zubimendi is out, those players are going to take their places. And based on what we saw against Villarreal in preseason, based on what we saw yesterday, oh bloody hell, are in we big trouble. So yeah, if you look from that point of view, it's pretty damn concerning to say the least. I'm not gonna lie. But Max Dowman also, he was phenomenal. The touches, the skills, the dribbling, everything was sublime, genuinely sublime. He once again proved why he, as I said, should be in this squad, why he should be playing, why he should be also rotated into the squad. Obviously, he's only 15. He plays a game, next day he has to hand in an essay at squad school, right? But at the same time, he is good enough. He's more than good enough, to say the least, to be honest. The thing is, though, Max Dowman, for me yesterday, cleared the myth that, I'm not gonna lie, to some extent, maybe also myself included, but mostly top Gooners, obviously, have been pushing that Saka always gets double teamed. He doesn't have chance to move and all this stuff. He doesn't have chance to take on opponents. Max Dowman was doubled on yesterday. He was closed down all the time. And he still got past the defenders. He still created chances. He still was always threatening, dangerous, forward thinking, despite all that. So what's the Saka's excuse then? What is Bukayo Saka's excuse then? Let me know that. Big up Marlon. Big up Marlon. If I say it again, academy players are running football nowadays. Yeah, to be honest, you cannot disagree with that. Big up Taran. Big up BBK Sports in the chat, people. Big up BBK. Hope you're doing well. Hope recovery is going well for you as well, my guy. And people, if you haven't already, go subscribe to BBK Sports. Show him some love. Show him some appreciation. Top guy, top content. Pretty much daily streams almost. And everything. He is a top guy, people. If you're not sub to him, if you're not following him, just go and drop him a sub. Drop him a sub. But yeah. Wait, where is it? Here it is. But yeah. Kepa did well. Kepa was very decent yesterday as well. Kepa was very decent. Big up Fusion is not Jads. Big up. Didn't know why I just woke up too early. No, I know. Hello, everyone. Big up Fusion. Big up. When Yeri's Kelly linked up deadly, man. Yeah. When Yeri overall didn't have a good game as well, to be honest. That goal kind of is painting over the cracks, but he didn't have a great game. At the same time, the back heel from Merino was sublime. The cross from for Skelly backwards, and then when Yeri finishes far corner, you could argue goalkeeper maybe should have done better, but at the same time, he did the job. When Yeri did the job, he scored a goal, put us 1-0 up, and that more or less sealed the fate. As soon as the first team players came on, we looked much more solid defensively, more specifically. And we shut them up, shut them down, and the counter-attacks also, they were threatening. In those times, 100%. I gotta cancel my Kepa bets. Those damn bastards roughing up a damn 15-year-old. Well, it is what it is. It's football, and you would expect that as well. I expected it. And if you are 15, you are playing for Arsenal, by the way. At 15, you will get the same treatment that other players are getting. Nobody gives a damn. If you put on that shirt, you're gonna get something coming at you. You do. What if I step on your knees? You must don't just relax. Big up Natalie. Hope Belgium is treating you well today. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're feeling well. Hope you're not sick or anything. Yeah, and here is BBK Sports link, people. Go drop him some subs and likes and love, people. Go show him some appreciation. I knew if Palace beat Liverpool and we found somewhere to beat Brighton, we would play Palace in Carabao Cup. Just always wants us to play the Palace. Well, I was hoping it's not Newcastle at St. James Park, first place. After that, well, it is what it is. I'm not going to lie. I'm genuinely not going to lie. If we got Newcastle once again at St. James's Park, it would be a tough one. First good thing Slowpoke Merino has done in months, to some extent, although he has scored some good goals, crucial goals for us, not going to lie, against City and stuff like that, so cannot totally disregard what he's done. We need to go to 4-3-3-2 with 2 8s and 1 number 6. Maybe, but we technically play like that. We play 4-3-3 in general, whoever plays in those spots as well. It is what it is. 4-3-3 technically counts as a flat with 3 8s, right? But we don't play with 3 8s anyways. Big up, Andrew. Big up, Andrew. Hope you're doing well. I do give an excuse for Saka. Dowman is not chained down with the extra careful Arteta ball. Yeah, he basically, you could say that Dowman has not been poisoned by Mikel Arteta to some extent. Because Arteta wants to play this slow, pragmatic, controlling style football. And Max Dowman, since he mostly spends time in under 21s, he doesn't get exposed to that crap. So he is that. So he has those things, and he has those abilities. And also, hence why I think he looks better. And that also raised the big question: the more Dowman stays away from Arteta until a new manager comes in potentially, the better for him. I'm not gonna lie, because there's still time. There's still time, and there is still time. Any which unless they could play it, yeah. Saka been trained into an obedient system player. Yeah, he has. But to be honest, also yesterday, Bukayo Saka, he had a decent game. He came on as a sub and he had a very good game from the bench. I'm not gonna lie, he had a very good game. Take away the goal he scored, he still had a very good game. Glad we got Palace as it's still in London, so not that much traveling involved. True, don't have to travel to Cardiff. Don't have to travel to Cardiff. That's always a plus. I'm not gonna lie. That is always a plus, if you put it that way. Spalletti appointed as new manager of Juventus. Yeah. It was talked about 2 days ago, yesterday, and today it's officially confirmed fully. Spalletti is Juventus' manager. Not sure why though, but hey, I think they could have done better. Let's just put it that way. Arteta fanboys are wilding out right now and saying Arteta versus Klopp bet, man. It's always been like that. It's always been like that. Anything, everything to defend, to everything regarding Arteta. It is what it is. But yeah, any other thoughts about the game, people? Any other thoughts about yesterday's game? Do you have anything to say about yesterday's game, about specific players? More maybe overall performance? I'm gonna say something that people think, since I'm toxic and negative, I'm gonna say something. Arteta did it right yesterday. Arteta did it right yesterday. He rotated. He rotated to an extent like Arsene Wenger would rotate. And Wenger did used to get results like that. And also so did Mikel Arteta yesterday. Right? And that is props to him. Props to him, obviously. What players produced on the pitch, that is not entirely to Arteta, it's to players themselves as well. And there is a reason why Max Dowman was the best player on the pitch yesterday. He should get the man of the match, but obviously since he didn't score or something, he is not going to get it. One thing I will say though, somehow yesterday, Anush, right, got more chances than Gyökeres. Seriously, Anush actually had a very good game. Unlucky not to score, obviously, because there was this chance in the second half before he got taken off. I expected him to score that. I'm not going to lie. I expected him to score that, but he shot straight the keeper. And obviously, Saka picked up the scraps and scored afterwards. But yeah, Anush had actually a very good game yesterday. I'm not going to lie. That was very good. Because Anush yesterday had one shot only, but I think he had more. He had chances. And I think he did actually much better than Gyökeres to some extent has done so far, even though he didn't score, obviously. So that's like, it is what it is in those terms. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be epic come April, May when these fanboys are now. Yeah, like November, December, it's going to show a lot because those are the times when we tend to crumble the most during the season. So we'll see what is what. Yeah, Dowman carried definitely. When Yeri didn't have a great game. First half was just yikes, to say the least. The second half, he improved definitely quite a bit. It was a stinky win. It was. But the win is a win. No set-piece goals, so no set-piece FC. Media, other fans cannot hate. We didn't score a set-piece. Everyone's happy, right? 2 goals from open play. Arteta rode his luck as Brighton did miss 3 very good chances in short succession. Yeah. We could have been down 2-3-0 in the first 10, 15, if maybe 20 minutes. Let's just put it that way. We could have been down. And if they, as I will say this again, if they didn't have Pirot there and they maybe had Welbeck, right? Big chances that we would be 2-0 down. And if we were 2-0 down then, based on what we produced in the first half, I don't think we are coming back. Unless at halftime Arteta makes these subs. I genuinely believe so. Anush just needs more experience. I know. I didn't say he had a bad game. I said he had a good game. And who is Copley? Never heard of him or academy till now. There are a lot of academy players. If you look at under 21s and everything, you will see. Here, good. I come from hospital. Good news. No control. Always exciting. Coming from hospital with good news. That is good, actually. I'm not going to lie. That is good. Hopefully you're feeling well and nothing serious, genuinely. Brighton were kind of direct and desperate. Probably should have scored 1-2 goals in the first minutes. At least 2 goals, yeah. We got lucky. Licky, lol. But also held up as well. Yeah, we did. Mosquera made some very important tackles. Yes, he made some mistakes. I'm not going to lie. In terms of some passing, some of the hospital passes, which resulted in some dangerous situations. But overall, he did good. Skelly as well in the first half. He just was yikes. In the second half, he was 10 times better. And that seemed to be overall the common courtesy with our players. In the first half, they were just shambolic. In the second half, they were 10 times better. If Brighton scored their chances, we would have been cooked. Yeah, I think so. If Brighton scored those first early chances in the first minutes, bigger chances than not that we would have been cooked. We would have been done 100%. Sorry. Oh, I hate this. I hate that. I know. Same thing. Happy for youngsters, new players. Kepa Mosquera, they chance the start. Yeah. Hincapié and Mosquera duo was cooking, man. But I think he should be a left backing. We'll see. Hincapié has played left back from us. He has now played center back as well. We'll see how Arteta rotates him in the future, because since Calafiori is not getting injured, which is great, obviously, if you look from that point of view, he's going to be starting, right? So Skelly technically is the backup. Hincapié can cover both positions. Would make quite a bit of sense to try Skelly in the midfield and Hincapié be the backup for left back, center back position in certain games. Definitely would make a very strong argument for that, 100%, because that I think would actually do good. Definitely would do good in those terms, without shadow of a doubt. It would be interesting also to see how that develops and how that carries the team going forward. But yeah, let me check some. What did I wrote down? Yeah, basically, I have some notes about the game, right? And first thing I have written down that we should be 2-0 down in the first 7 minutes. We should have been. Sorry, my camera went out of focus. We should be 2-0 down in first 7 minutes. We should have been 3-0 down in the first 20 minutes. So if that would have happened, we would have been done. We were very open in the midfield, which was a big worry, especially in the early stages of the game. We were very open. That Norgard Merino midfield definitely is not working. Didn't work in pre-season against Villarreal. We lost to them. We conceded 3 goals for the first time in a very long while as well in that game. And obviously, since it's not an official game, technically speaking, it doesn't count. We are still like almost 2 years without conceding more than 2 goals a game. The depth, it definitely made me raise some questions about the squad depth. Not specifically defensively, per se. Not specifically in the attack, per se. But more specifically in the midfield. Because we are playing with fire. Let's just put it that way. Because if I have to start to imagine scenarios where for some reason Declan Rice gets injured for all the running and things he does also to cover Zubimendi and going forwards, yeah, right? If he has to do all this and he gets injured, Merino takes his place. Unless Arteta plays Eze or someone or Odegaard there. But if they both are out, you know what's going to happen. If Zubimendi gets injured, most likely he's going to put Rice there. I would expect that, right? At the same time, if they both are out, we are looking at this Merino-Norgard midfield. And yesterday, it showed that if we have to play them, we are done. Especially if we play a semi-decent team. Because this type of midfield of Merino or Norgard is not going to work against Bournemouth, Aston Villa. I'm not even talking about Chelsea, City, Liverpool, even though they're in dumps. I'm not going to lie, but still, it will not work against them. We are cooked. And obviously, we have Champions League game next week against Slavia Prague, where Zubimendi is not playing. Zubimendi is not playing. He picked up too many yellows. He has to miss a game before Bayern, which is very good, to be honest, to some extent. Who's going to be the 6? Will Arteta play Rice in the 6? Will we play Norgard in the 6? Who knows? But we all know that Declan Rice tends to cover for Zubimendi sometimes defensively for all the running he does. Now imagine, even for one game, Declan Rice needs to cover Norgard, who is much slower than Zubimendi. He doesn't have the technical ability. He's more of a destroyer, obviously, which would help him. But for recovery, for backwards defensive work, especially if he's pushed up to the field, it could be very long. Definitely could be very long in those terms, if you look for that way. I would say shambolic. We didn't look kind of squishy, a stupid word to use, but it's like we were physically weaker against them. But that's the nuts part. Arteta signs these tall players, 6'2", 6 foot, 6'1", technically athletes and all this stuff. Yet we still get bullied at times, right? In the midfield, more specifically. And when we play these more physical, sometimes old school English teams, sometimes just more physical teams in general, we struggle instantly. We saw that against Luton Town in the Premier League. Remember when we played them at their ground, how physical they were? Remember how it was against Aston Villa? Against, even last season, against Liverpool, against Man City even, against Bournemouth. As soon as they get physical, tough, in the bone, Newcastle with us, our team tends to fall. Declan Rice maybe has not falters, but the rest of them, especially like Zubimendi, they instantly collapse. And that for me is a big worry. We should actually fully sign him in summer. I assume you mean... What do you even mean by that? We should actually fully sign him in the summer. I don't even know who you mean by that. Hospital for... Oh, breast cancer. Oh, no. I don't know if it's like that in Belgium, but for example, in my country, in November, there's also the breast cancer and breast cancer awareness month, specifically for the females and everything. You get free scans and all this stuff. Like, big up to you. Since you said you have some positive news, so there is nothing. So that is great. That is great. Definitely. Better be safe than sorry. Yearly checkups and everything. We have Burnley, Sunderland, Spurs, who smacked us in preseason. I'm still past about that. And don't forget, we play Burnley and Sunderland right now. Then we have November international break, right? And if you look after Spurs in the November international break, we have Spurs at home. We have Bayern Munich at home. We have Aston Villa away. And Chelsea away. Those 4 games will be rough, especially straight after international break when teams are not kicked into gear, when they're tired, the legs are off and everything. It could be Peakums then. Hell no, that Merino Norgard midfield. I still remember that day when there was a goalkeeper refused to be substituted and making the manager furious like hell. Now that goalkeeper is one of ours. Yeah. He did that with Maurizio Sarri as well. That was at Chelsea at the time. Now that goalkeeper plays for us. Interesting, isn't it? That people say that Mikel Arteta doesn't want players with the attitude. He had attitude then. Obviously, he maybe have grown. But at the same time, this attitude issue was the same reason why we didn't sign Guimaraes to some extent. We didn't sign Ivan Toney when we had a chance on players like that. So, go figure, right? Go figure. Hey. We have top squad. What? We have top squad, I assume you mean, right? Not so sure. Not so sure. Starting 11 is good. Some bench players are good. But the more we dig, the worse it gets. That's the nuts part. We got to watch out for Sunderland soon. They're the big team smackers this season. They want 100%. And it's at their ground, so it's definitely going to be a rough one. How do you think Sunderland will do against us? Well, depends. Have to wait and see. It's in 2 weeks' time. Well, week and a half. The closer it's going to come, the more we're going to talk about this. We can't do that against Burnley or Sunderland. Yeah, exactly. We cannot have the start we had in the first half. Obviously, I don't expect that given that we will play our best 11 available, right? So I don't expect none of this. Misplaced passes, lackluster defense, getting caught out, walk through midfield, and all this stuff. I don't expect it at all. So I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue. Hincapié, he's on loan. We should buy him. No, he's not on loan. Arsenal have bought him. Well, he's a season loan with obligation to buy. Let's just put it that way. He's a season loan with obligation to buy. Let's just put it that way. Oh, well, option to buy, but I expect it to be an obligation. It's a loan with option to buy, but I expect to be an obligation. I think Arsenal are going to sign Hincapié just for that backups and everything. Basically, why they did that is because they had already spent such insane money on players this summer with no sales at all that they could not afford to go over that FFP PSR crap. Because it feels like we are just on the brink of overstepping that. And if we do, and we don't sell, we gonna get slaughtered with lawsuits, and we gonna have to pay fines or get point deductions and all this stuff. So it's a loan with option to buy, but I expect next summer it to be us buying him. Because at the moment, if he performs at a decent level, I don't see a reason why we shouldn't sign him. I'll just put it that way. I'm starting to like Merino. I'm having such a laugh when he falls like sack potatoes after his softest of touches. Oh, yeah. We have the biggest athletes in the game, what it feels like. That every time a breeze gets blown across the midfield, they fall like just... It's actually insane. Heard Madueke is back soon. Good for our attack. I'm not going to lie. Good for our attack. Those matches are crucial to win. Exactly. We need to win all of them if we are serious. Remember, we can't underestimate. We are not. But it's gonna be it's an option, but I expect to be that we're gonna buy him. What would guys think would happen if I had Mosquera, Kingpay, Gabriel, Saliba, Kiwi as center back options? Well, if you take away Kiwi, you're very good. I much rather have a proper left back than Kivior. I'm not gonna lie. Much rather would have a proper left back than Kivior. I'm just gonna put it that way. And Kivior is gone. Stop pushing your agenda on Kivior. We will sign him, but he was an obligation. Again, fair play to Bertha. Yeah. It was an obligation. It was an option for like 40 million. Let me check. If Arsenal want to make the deal permanent, Arsenal have £45 million option to buy Hincapié from Bayer Leverkusen. £45 million if we want to buy him. That is basically in the option to buy. So if Arsenal decide to buy him, we have to pay that. Obviously, so far, cannot make any judgments about Hincapié too much because he's been injured most of the time. This was his first proper game to some extent. He has had some subs and overall situations here or there, but ultimately, yeah. I expect Arsenal to sign Hincapié at the end of the day. He looks solid defensively, at least for... Where is he from? Ecuador, right? Or Venezuela? Venezuela, right? Ecuador. He's very good for Ecuador. He kept 2 clean sheets against Brazil and Chile. So Argentina and Chile, sorry. So I expect him to be there. Him and Mosquera can be food secondary center back. No. 45 million for a backup, yeah. If he's on decent wages, I don't mind. Keep in mind this, we have 52 million Madueke as a backup. At the moment, at least. You can look at it that way. Calafiori, if he's not a backup at the moment, but yeah. Merino is a 38 million backup. Ben White is now a backup, and he cost 50-something million. If we look from that point of view, it has to be, that's these days market. You have to pay the money. For me, the thing is the wages. Let's just put it that way. Because if we sign Hincapié for 45 million and we put him on like 200K, or 150K, then it's just dumbest shit on the planet Earth, if we are looking from that point of view. However, if we sign him for 45 million, we put him on like 80, 90 grand a week, I have no problems with that. For me, it's more dependent on the wages. Because at the moment, we also are looking at technically Kai Havertz as a backup, and he's a 65 million signing with 285 grand a week wage. He looks pretty good, although gives off a bit of early Gubby vibe, a Bozo gene that eventually will be ironed out. Well, he needs to get used to the league first place, because he hasn't played pretty much at all for Arsenal in those terms. Yeah, big up Gunner for life. Big up Gunner for life. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing good. Did we release Josh Nichols, Kabiasago Jr. from our academy? Let's check. Josh Nichols is in the Premier League 2. He plays for Arsenal's second team at the moment. Well, under 21s. He plays for Arsenal under 21s. At the moment, at least. He's played 10 games this season. Charles Ago Jr. at the moment is still at Arsenal, also plays for under 21s on consistent basis. Last season was out on loan at Shrewsbury, but at the moment he still plays in the Premier League 2 for Arsenal. And Sago Jr. actually has somewhat decent stats. These are Sago Jr. this season so far, 7 games in Premier League 2, 2 goals, 3 assists. In 630 minutes. Not that bad. Not that bad if you look from that point of view. If we are looking from that point of view. And I think Kabia didn't Kabia go out on loan? I might be all over the place, but I think Ishmael Kabia went out on loan. Yeah, Ishmael Kabia went out on loan to Shrewsbury Town. He went to Shrewsbury Town from Arsenal. He's on loan. I think I read something like that in the last days of the window. Surprised he isn't in the main team. He's 18, 19. Well, to be honest, where would you even play them? Because there are certain positions that promoting makes no sense at the moment, at least. If you can play in under 21s, if you can get a loan, take that opportunity for God's sakes. Because let's just put it that way. If you promote, let's just say, 3 center backs and you are playing behind Saliba and Gabriel, then you have Mosquera, Hincapié. Makes zero freaking sense to even have them in the team. So at the moment, they're playing the youth contracts and everything. Yes, they're not the youngest. Sorry, I needed to refresh my camera. They're not the youngest in those terms. I would like to see him play over Trossard or Nelly. Nah, he's out on loan. Yeah, but he can, but he won't. Because you want to see them play over these Martinellis and Trossards, but Arteta doesn't see it that way. And there's no chance he's going to risk it at the moment. So he won't. Nichols as well. Yes, he can play right back, left back. He has played right back as well for Arsenal, if I'm not mistaken, or center back in preseason. Last year or this year, I don't remember now on top of my head. But overall, yeah. If you have a solid team as you have like at Arsenal right now, it's very, very hard to integrate them into the team because certain players need game time. And that's why I'm kind of a bit frustrated about Max Dowman, because we can see that he's better, at least at the moment from what we have seen, than some of the attackers we have in the team right now who are starting week in, week out, right? At the same time, he's registered to under 18s or under 21s and everything. So if we can call him up and he can play, he's going to play. The issue is with Max Dowman, the biggest issue is that we basically play, we are yo-yoing him all the time. That for me is the big issue with Max Dowman. We are yo-yoing him. And what I mean by that is he can play in the main team, right? He's not playing with under 21s. He's being called up to the main team for a game week. And sometimes he's not even with the team. He's not registered for the game. He's not on the bench or anything. He's just being called up to train with the main squad. And he goes back down. And that's it. Like, it is what it is. Dowman have for our first team. I would want to see Dowman play over. I don't even know. I would love to see him over Trossard, over Martinelli. Would love to see him how he plays in the team. Maybe try Dowman on the right, Saka on the left. If there is a possibility, something like that. Definitely. Would even try that. But yeah, I'm not going to get into these youngster discussions too much because Marlon is over zesty over them because he wants them all into the team right now. And yes, we can see that some of them are better than the main team players. Yes, it might be too early to promote them, but that is not the case to talk about right now at the end of the day. I'm not going to get into this because, yes, Marlon, you have tendency to blow things out of proportion in these terms. Let's just put it that way. With the youngsters, 100%. You have this tendency, hence why I'm not going to indulge you in these situations anymore. But yeah, if we look at, I'm not going to look at Max Dowman's stats, but I know, you know what? Let's look at Max Dowman's stats, to be honest. I kind of want to look at this. Because Max Dowman, these were Max Dowman's stats yesterday, which is a big thing. Where is it? Show me this. Yeah, here we go. Max Dowman's stats from yesterday's game. And that is actually very good stats for a 15-year-old, if you ask me. It's a very big shame that he didn't score. Let's just put it that way. That's about it. He didn't even get an assist, which I would love to see. But he played 71 minutes, 34 touches, 14 out of 16 accurate passes, which is good. 9 duels won, 5 successful take-ons, 4 fouls when he was getting fouled quite a bit as well during the game. 3 possessions won, 3 touches in opposition box, and every single time he skinned the defenders. He was getting the Saka treatment to some extent. He was getting doubled up on even. And the thing about Saka is he passes the ball many times backwards and recycles the ball. Max Dowman did the straight opposite. He said, screw you all, I'm taking you on. And he did. The way he scouts the pitch before he takes that touch, he's never chasing his touch as well. The technical ability he has, the footballing IQ, and the ability to read the game in certain aspects, how he positions his body to draw a foul just in case. It's actually very high-end for a 15-year-old. It's very, very high-end. And it's very promising. It's just an issue that he doesn't play for the main team because we all would love to see him in there. The other thing is he plays for under 21s, which I'm not too much against because they allow the players to play how they want to play to some extent still. On under 18s, he plays as well. And on top of all that, looking at how good Max Dowman is at the moment, the more he stays away from Mikel Arteta and doesn't become a recycling ball merchant, the better. To some extent, if we are looking at it that way. Yeah, Dowman plays very good. At minimum, Max should be playing 20 to 30 minutes a game. He needs to develop. Nothing wrong with a young man playing against older players. It makes you better. Exactly. Especially since he's better than some of the players in our team. And there's no question in my mind that he's better than some of the players in the other teams. We saw in preseason he was playing and he was skinning Premier League proven defenders. We saw yesterday how he was skinning Premier League proven defenders. So I don't see a reason why he should not be playing. The only drawback and the only reason why Max Dowman to some extent is not playing, at least in my eyes, right, is the fact that in front of him is the poster boy of Arsenal, Bukayo Saka. And Mikel Arteta is gonna refuse to play, let's just say, Saka on the left, Dowman on the right. Or vice versa, Dowman on the left, Saka on the right. He is going to refuse to do that. So, yeah. And it's off topic, but now that I'm looking at Saka has no assist this season, none of the goalkeepers has more. You know that Saka hasn't had an assist since he got injured, I think. And when I say got injured, I mean when he got injured last year in November. Or December when he got injured and he got the last injury. That is the nuts part. Because this season he has no assists, right? If I go to last year, you can very distinctly see, I'm going to zoom it in a bit. Is it good enough? Good enough. The last time Bukayo Saka had an assist, that would be Premier League, first of all, I would expect. Last time Saka had an assist, November 30th against West Ham when we won 5-2. He had 3 assists, and that was the last time he had an assist in Premier League. A year ago. 1 month from today, will be 1 year of Bukayo Saka not getting assists unless he gets assists in the upcoming like 4 games that are coming up. That is worrying. I'm not gonna lie. That is a bit worrying if you are looking from that point of view, to say the least. Fabregas, Rooney, Owen, prime examples. Yeah, 100%. To be honest, we did the same with Wilshere and everything. Definitely. Dowman is 100% better footballer than Merino. Oh, without shadow of a doubt. Yeah, but Arteta is never going to do that, is he? Hopefully first minute at Champions League. Well, he cannot even play until next year, can he? Or something like that. I don't even know when he can play. Technically, he can because he's registered to the team. I don't even know how that's going to work. Against Slavia Prague wouldn't be the worst game for him to play, to be honest. Yes, I know it's away, but still. I can say, to be honest, about Max Dowman, when he could play in Champions League, right? Is the Kairat Almaty game, the Kazakhstan team, at the Emirates, the 8th game of the group stages, of the league group stage. I can see him playing then. I don't see nothing wrong with that. Makes me way more efficient on the wing. More, Gyökeres more assists than Saka and more goals than Isak. I don't understand why he gets criticized. Well, he gets criticized for, 2 reasons, basically. Our own fan base, because this fan base was screaming for the last 2 years that as soon as Arsenal get a striker, we win the league and we are unstoppable. And so far, arguably the main reason why we are winning is the defense, not the attack. And Gyökeres is struggling in it, not scoring goals. And the second thing is, everyone knows that Gyökeres can bag goals for fun. And he is not doing it right now. He's just not scoring at Arsenal. Big up, AJ. Big up, AJ. Hope you're doing well. Listen to AJ, people. Like the stream. Subscribe if you're new. All that good stuff. Big up, AJ. 14 likes. Can we push it up to 20? Maybe. Dowman must be very popular in his school. Oh, 100%. 100%. I think there's a bit much going on this season, and especially we as fans can't be really looking after everything and every player. We have the Lego head for that, and he learned from the best. Well, he did. Technically, Arteta, even if you look at his, let's just say, past, right? He's been coached by Wenger. He's learned under Pep. He's learned under David Moyes. He's played with players like Beckham, Ronaldinho, and players like that, right? Alexis Sanchez. And of all these things, he resolved to playing like David Moyes. Like, that is kind of nuts to some extent, if you ask me. He's going to be 16 soon. He needs to start playing. Yeah, exactly. He needs to. We must go on and win this League Cup. Simple as that. Facts. 100% facts. Crystal Palace next round. When is the next round, by the way? When is the next round? December 16th. December 16th, at least for now, is the schedule for Arsenal game. December 16th. So that is straight between Wolves at home and Everton away. December 16th. Time is undetermined, but we are playing December 16th. Not the worst games, to be honest, in between. Wolves at home, Palace at home in the Cup, Everton away, and Brighton at home. Not the worst games to be mixed in with. But yeah, December 16th is the next round. Max can play in Champions League, was on the bench in 1-2. Oh, so play him. Our attack, yeah, it is. Nothing can you do about it. Well, we can, but we won't. Is it just a topic for content? You can't be serious about what? I'm talking about the midfield depth in terms of Merino and what's its face, Norgard. Because it takes one injury and we are resolving to them playing in the midfield. And yesterday we saw how awful they are. I'm more targeting Norgard here. Obviously, you can write it down to the game rust and everything. At the same time, they were not great. Our midfield was walk-through fence. It was like cheddar cheese, holes in it all over the place. Merino was giving away, not Merino, Norgard was giving away hospital passes half the time. Thanks to Norgard, we could have conceded 2 of the 3 goals. If we would, well, we could have conceded 2 goals at least in the first 15 minutes. Like, it's not a joke. And Arteta does not play like Moyes. I don't say he plays like Moyes. He's taken inspiration from that to some extent. Be here for the full stream and think about what I say, not just take few words out of context. There is some meaning behind them as well. I fully believe if he throws the League Cup in the bin, it will derail soon. You think he's going to throw it in the bin? I don't see it happening. I kind of feel like Arteta is under proper pressure at the moment to win it. Obviously, the rotation was kind of shocking to me, the way he rotated and how much. In those terms, right? But it worked. He did what Wenger would do at the end of the day. And it worked. I was saying for the longest time, Wenger could walk this until quarterfinals, semifinals with the youngsters, and Arteta did that yesterday. So credit for him where credit is due. He started Anush, which I didn't expect. The nuts part is Anush had better chances, 2 chances to score than Gyökeres has had in the last few games, ironically enough. Yes, Gyökeres had a good chance to score in previous game, but overall, Anush looked better at striker than Gyökeres to a certain extent, which is actually kind of insane even to think about it from that point of view. Might be Arsenal, Newcastle, City, Chelsea. You think in the semifinals? Maybe. Well, you cannot write Cardiff off, Brentford. Who else is there? Fulham. You never can write them off. They can do a madness there. Yeah, he chooses to play like David Moyes. I've seen David Moyes play. He also plays defensive football. He has played a lot like that. I'm not talking about the attacking part. I'm talking about the defensive part. Because many times when we go 1-0 up, we sit back. And West Ham under Moyes have done it a lot. Hence why I talk about it. In those terms. Yeah, exactly. Might. But we'll see. We'll see. In those terms. Where is it? And this is the big thing. There is the thing. Mikel Arteta's Arsenal have 6 clean sheets, in the last 5 games, which is kind of wild. Defensively, we are very sound and very solid. That is our saving grace. Although yesterday, in the first 15-20 minutes, when we could have conceded 3 goals, it didn't feel like that. And if they had, as I said, Danny Welbeck up top, bigger chances than not that he is putting at least 1 or 2 of those chances away. Because they were that good of chances. So at the end of the day, it could have gone either way. We are defensive C, 100%. We are defensive C, only 3 goals conceded in Premier League overall. And everything. So yeah, we'll see. And the best part is we didn't concede against Atletico Madrid and against Palace. Those 2 are big ones. It will be interesting for me personally to see how we fare against Sunderland, first things first, because they tend to do very good against the big teams. They don't give a damn, and they play very solid football. And the next games after November international break, the first 4 after November international break, for me are gonna be the real test. Let's just put it that way, because this is our schedule in these games. Obviously, we have to play Burnley on Saturday. But yeah, as you can see, straight after international break in November, right? We have to play Spurs at home. Let's see if we can keep a clean sheet there. Let's see if we can keep a clean sheet against Bayern Munich, which I don't expect to happen at all. Against Chelsea, we'll see. Although when we go to Stamford Bridge, we somehow shit our pants many times in recent times. And yeah, and Brentford, and of course, then it's Aston Villa away at Villa Park, which also is not going to be a light work. I don't expect to keep clean sheets in these games. For me, it will be interesting to see how many goals do we concede from these games and how we react if we concede first, more specifically. That, for me, is going to be the real test and real situation, how these situations will be judged. And obviously, how many? Because we can easily concede 2 goals in each of those games. That is the other thing. And then all this talk from top Gooners about beating Chelsea's defensive record is already done pretty much. Because if we concede, let's just say 2 against Chelsea, 2 against Spurs, that's 4 goals. We have conceded 3 only right now. And then concede 4 in 2 games, we will be on 7. And let's be real, we are not going to concede only 6 goals in the remaining, 24 games? It's not happening from that point of view. For me, this will be the real test. These 5-6 games, especially these 5 after international break, is going to show what is what and where we going to stand this season. Because at the moment, yes, we are 4 points clear, the best defense in the league, arguably in the world and everything. Yes, we score a lot of set pieces. We tend to score from open play in Premier League and all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. Right? But this run of games against all these top sides is going to be the real show what is what. Because November and December tends to be the rough points for Arsenal for many years. Let's just put it that way. And if we go unscathed to some extent from this, especially if other teams draw points as well, and we even pounce on that and make the gap bigger, right? It could be a very, 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 very positive outlook for the second part of the season. Let's just put it that way. We lost right set piece corners, free kicks for a long time. We are in trouble. Yeah. I'm very curious. No, I'm not very curious, but if that happens, I want to see how we adjust. Because so far the set pieces, when Rice doesn't take them, look very shaky and not in a good way. And for other thing is, if Gabriel doesn't play, because we all can see that Gabriel is the focal point of these set pieces, left, right, center. He's the target man for the drop off and everything. How is that gonna affect things? Yes, Timber, Calafiori have scored corners as well, but Gabriel is the main focal point of that. It will be very, very big thing to see. Yeah, Norgard definitely is missing match rhythm, without shadow of a doubt. You could tell that these players don't play a lot. I don't mean they play together, but they don't have the game practice. They don't have that. They are not in the rhythm. You could definitely tell that. But it was painful to watch, to say the least. On those things. We shouldn't focus on no record. That should be a byproduct. Yeah. The only record one to break is 25 years without title. Exactly. Facts. This is absolute facts. For me, I don't care if we break Chelsea's defensive record or we concede 60 goals per season. As long as we score enough goals to win the games and get the points on the board to win the league. For all I care, we can win every single game in the league 4-3. Yeah, 4-3, exactly. And that means we're going to concede 84 goals. However, we're going to score 144 or 152 goals, right? At the end of the day, we will have 3 points all the time on the board and we're going to win the league. At the end of the day, these achievements shouldn't be the focal point. And you can also finish second in the league and still be the Chelsea's defensive record. So what does that mean then? Again, it means nothing. Oh, it looks impressive on the books, on the paper, but in reality, it has led again to nothing. So for me personally, these records and these things that top Gooners and many Arsenal fans are trying to push narratives on already on social media, in their YouTube videos, interviews, and everything, are just preposterous, to say the least. Are absolutely preposterous. Yeah, there will be some players back after international break. Apparently, Madueke could be back. Maybe Odegaard as well. Maybe, but that's a bit of a stretch. Havertz will be back sometime December. Jesus as well, late December, mid-December. It will be interesting to see. And that is provided if we don't get new injuries, because we still don't know the extent of Saliba's injury, whether it's just that's injured for one game type of situation when he doesn't have to go to play against Brighton or what. And we don't know the extent of Martinelli's injury, because Arteta said before the Brighton game that they don't know. They still need to do tests. which again is a bit of a worrying in those terms. How about break some goal scoring records? Well, we did a few years ago, but again, it led to nothing. We didn't win anything. That is the other thing. You can beat your records as much as you want, but if at the end of the season it leads to nothing, it's just for a feel good factor at the end of the day. Something to ease the pain, something like that. Like it's great, but it also means nothing. Big Gabby, you're talking about Gabriel Magalhaes here, by the way. I'm talking about Martinelli. But yeah, it is what it is. Hello. Yeah. some shit going down. Nah, not getting swatted or anything. Something about neighbors, something going wrong. That's why. But yeah. Everything's fine in that regard. I know it looks just scary in that regard. Just looking at it, just went to check out. Yeah, big possibility. If we win the League Cup, we are moving on without shadow of a doubt. Without shadow of a doubt. But yeah, people, sorry for the confusing ending. Let's just put it that way. Sorry for the confusing ending, but yeah, I think on that note, I'm gonna end today's stream and everything. Yeah, neighbors stirring some shit up, basically. Nothing in that regard. Nothing serious, at least for now. At least by looking at it. But yeah, I think on that note, I'm gonna end today's stream. So yeah, people, like the stream, subscribe if you're new, and yeah, I'm gonna see you all tomorrow. But for today, I'm gonna be signing off. Peace.